Students in our English ALP program are new not only to writing in college, but frequently they're just plain new to college. So community building in our program is extra super duper important. And one of the hallmarks of ALP as a national model is really thinking about community building in a lot of different dimensions. So Amy, when you think about community building in your ALP classroom, what's most important?
I think more than anything, I obviously go to the students first. So I think building trust in a relationship with them is most important. Oftentimes you get students who have struggled for a variety of reasons in not just writing classes, maybe often other classes, but particularly with writing, they don't trust themselves. They don't necessarily trust the system or the process or their instructor. So I see it as my job to first and foremost build a relationship with them so that they can trust me to walk them through the process, expose them to the right resources that they need, help them develop a process that works for them.
How about you, Karen? What do you think?
I think a lot about how students come to a program like ALP, the sort of pre-stamped with failure. They kind of bring that baggage with them. Mm-hmm. And also students, to an incredibly large degree, often think that they are the only ones who feel whatever they feel. And when they get into an environment where you're actually having a conversation about what all the people in the room are actually feeling, they're astonished to discover that they all kind of feel a lot of the same things. And that, I think, helps them to build a sense of community with each other and to kind of have a sense of sort of bonding with each other over some of those things that they have in common. And then I also think that once they realize that so many other people in the room have some of the same experiences and some of the same feelings that they have.
Not to say fears.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they find out that all these other people have a lot of the same experiences they have, then they don't feel so alone, and then that feeling of failure or the sort of pre-branding of being a failure, I think that helps to kind of let that ease off, at least somewhat for them.
Absolutely. I think to build off both your points, it's kind of this twofold, multifaceted thing we're trying to do. We're trying to build community with the students, and then we're trying to build a community with them as a group in the classroom. And for me, I feel like when we do that, students become more comfortable not only with their peers, but with us as instructors, which helps us tailor to their needs individually. So a big highlight of ALP is being able to, I think, individually assess our students since it is a smaller number, and we're able to tailor what they need with collegiate resources. So whether it is, like we mentioned, financial aid or writing services or something like that, I think it takes both that individual community building and class-wide community building to be able to tailor their needs and to make them feel more, or to help them feel more comfortable with how we can serve them best.
So Mary, like once you've got students comfortable with you, right, because their relationship to you is one of the most important things, what do you do to get them comfortable sharing with each other?
So something that I like to do, and I have found, and I'd love to hear from you all as well, it transfers really well into our 1101, is an interview activity. So I like to have students come up with 5 questions where if we knew the answers to them, we would know them a little bit better. And this helps them feel, again, individually talked to, which I think sometimes in larger class-wide settings, they feel skipped over because there's more faces alongside them. So we do individual low-stakes interview activities, right, where they talk to each other in small conversations, and then I promise them this is the only time we'll ever do like a group-wide conversation where they introduce each other. They talk about the things that make them feel individual to themselves. And what happens is students find out they have things in common with one another, right? So not only do they all feel like they have this in common being in the classroom, but they have things that make them feel safer to talk about, like outside extracurriculars or what they enjoy. So that helps a lot.
I think, though, that community between just them with you outside of it actually happens pretty organically as well, just because they're spending 6 hours a week together in a smaller setting, I find that they're often have found a way, whether it's they've exchanged numbers or not that I'm going to understand, but like they snap each other. Is that what it is? Mary, you probably know.
No. Instant anachronism. Yeah.
So they found a way to kind of communicate outside of class. Like currently, I have 2 students that one doesn't have a way to get here, and the other one does. So they ride together, and that happened just organically, which is often the case because they're spending more time with each other than traditionally.
I think in so many classes, we just expect students to get to know each other, but we don't necessarily instruct them on how they're supposed to do that. And I think one of the distinctive things, as you can hopefully see about ALP, is that students sharing with one another is actually a structured part of the curriculum. And it's something that's enshrined in our course objectives. It's something that we take really seriously, but it's also something that as an instructor, I think is a lot of fun to focus on.